During 2006, yes, when I was 4, my dad had given me a spare PS2 Slim, along with Burnout Revenge and Killzone. But Killzone's for another story, maybe in another video, who knows. But yes, that is basically when my interest in the series took off. Now look, listen. There was nothing like racing through the streets in crazy speed and just slamming your rivals onto the walls or traffic, because you decide to be that petty that you want to hold first place, no matter what cost. Also, speaking of cost, this is how much you're paying per event.
Hey, good luck, homies. I'll see y'all at Mission Row, alright?
Despite this being the only couple of games I had during that year, and those glorious demo discs as well, I would absolutely replay this non-stop because it was just so addicting because of its mechanics and also how rewarding the game is in the long run. In fact, I still play this game today on either my PS2, which was very recently as well, or even my Xbox Series S because of the Xbox 360 version, which I don't know which one I love more, the 360 or the PS2 version. The 360 would be great if, I don't know, just too much motion blur for starters, and the contrast when you boost, way too much. Anyway, fast forward a couple more years, my dad had bought me more PS2 games, and Burnout 3 Takedown was one of them. And even though I enjoyed that entry too, my dumb kid self was like, why can't I hit the traffic on the right side of the road? Not knowing that this game was before Revenge. Look, I didn't have much internet access at the time, so I could even know like the history of the franchise, okay? Give me a break. Anyway, for what it was, I really loved the game either way. It still had the same feeling as Revenge in terms of going fast, slamming rivals, and still have to pay for damages in the motorway. Burnout was definitely becoming one of my favorite franchises of all time. And it still is today. And then there was Dominator. As a kid, I didn't really care extensively at the time, as I was just happy to see another Burnout game, and anything would impress me at the time. Hell, it was even on the PSP, so playing that on the go was absolutely surprising but also amazing. I had countless fun with the game. I was just happy to do all the things that you could do in Takedown Revenge outside, or even once you're at the barbershop. Yes, I also took my PSP to a barbershop. It's a good way to wait, you know, for your haircut. Well, now I have a lot to say about this game. Take that however you want, good or bad. I just hope you listen anyway. I don't know why, but I had a sudden urge to play through racing games again. It was literally last year that something snapped inside me when I realized I like cars and I like how they sound. So I just bought like a bunch of racing games, including the PS2 version of Burnout Dominator. I went back on Burnout Paradise after realizing that I can play the launch version, which is amazing by the way. If you have a PS3, check it out. I don't know if it works for your Xbox 360, but if that works, then definitely check it on your 360 as well. And Grid, and also Dirt 2, which I still need to play as well. But Grid is probably one of the best motorsport experiences I've had in a while. So the way my format of the video is going to work is I'm going to do my best to explain it in detail and hopefully not make it too complicated for you guys. So here we go. Before I begin explaining how I actually feel about the game itself, let's talk about its history first. So, on December 7th, 2006, Burnout Dominator was officially announced for the PS2 and PSP. The idea was to make sure the current gen fans wouldn't feel left out, as a new Burnout title was announced back in August for the next generation consoles. PS3 and Xbox 360. But it was also a way to keep Criterion busy with the big project, being Burnout Paradise. So a different development studio, which we'll call Electronic Arts UK, took matters into their own hands to develop the last Burnout title for PS2 and PSP fans. Yep, sorry Xbox, you were unfortunately left out for this one.
Man, come the fuck on!
Alright, onward. This kept fans on current gen and next gen happy and occupied as they basically have more content from a new game to more news about Burnout Paradise, or Burnout 5 was referred to at the time, and they can just simply look forward to it. On 9th of January 2007, the first trailer was released for Burnout Dominator. There isn't many comments on the video as I've managed to find this source from a very old channel by the name of AntonCooper. I'll leave a link in the description below if you'd like to have a nostalgic trip at looking at the old Burnout trailers and some interviews as well. But you can tell that the account is based on someone who worked at Criterion. Anyway, I can imagine that the current gen fans were excited for a new Burnout title after most likely replaying Revenge for like, I don't even want to count the hours, or just fighting rivals online.
That's the exact same stats, by the way. That's weird.
And fast forward to 16 February 2007, an interview featuring Nick Channon has been released. And I emphasize his name because that is something we'll talk about later in the video. So, the interview basically showcased the game and what to expect when the game comes out. We'll dive a little bit into the interview later as well, but it kept fans going for a little while as they've been through a month of radio silence.
It's the ultimate test of dangerous driving. Burnout Dominator is all about reckless skill-based driving, reckless skill-based driving, reckless skill-based driving, skill-based driving, skill-based driving, skill-based.
This interview actually covered a lot of information in a span of 4 minutes. He managed to talk about the returning mechanic, which was the Burnout boost chain, way back in Burnout 2, new modes such as Maniac being the main star of the show, along with having near miss, drift, and Burnout challenges throughout World Tour. Okay. New maps that are based in America, rural Japan, and others, and also Record Breaker. Basically a different name for Quick Race. Record Breaker is just essentially a mode that allows for more replayability and, well, breaking records. Whether it's your own or your friends that you find to your house. God, for good days. I'm sure the Halo fans with their LAN pies can relate heavily to this. Speaking of friends, the split screen mode of course is here to stay, but unless you only have a PS2, no online mode. So if you had a PSP, and for friends that had a PSP, and were lucky enough to have Burnout Dominator on the PSP, you could essentially go through the ad hoc mode, which is just like local connection when you're with your friends basically. It's what people did at McDonald's, okay? Like, this is how it works. Other than that, PS2 had nothing. To add the cherry on top, no crash mode. Yeah, there's no comments on that interview as well, but if you look on Reddit, a lot of people were not happy about that. Like, people would say they like the game for what it is, but the fact that there's no crash mode is just like salt in the wound, basically. Especially with the fact that crash mode is an absolute fan favorite mode across Burnout 3 and Burnout Revenge. You would think that they would try and like add it on Dominator, but no, I guess not. But considering it was coming to the PSP, I can sort of understand that there's probably like a lot of restrictions and limitations when making the game, because I feel like the main focus was for PSP rather than the PS2. But it's annoying either way because I feel like it would actually like fit the maps. Yeah, they're small, but you still got like some junctions here and there that you could like blow up. On second thought, maybe not that map in particular. Although crash mode wasn't mentioned in the interview, it probably left fans in question if crash mode was going to return, considering it wasn't mentioned in the interview at all. So there was only one way to find out. And no, it actually wasn't demos this time. Wait for the goddamn game, sponsored by EA. Yep, there wasn't even a demo for this game. In fact, I don't think there was that much marketing except for the interview and a few trailers showcasing car classes, a new mode, Maniac, and the fact that the game's going to PSP. With that being said, fast forward to release day, which was 6th of March for North American fans, and then 23rd of March for Europe and UK fans, whilst PSP users in that region had to wait till the 27th of April to then play the game. You'd think that they would be able to release everything in the UK first and then other countries later, but then I realized the publishing EA company is American based, so I guess that kind of makes sense. It still doesn't, but I'm just going to roll with it. Okay, so whilst I'm busy rubbing off my salty thoughts because I'm still annoyed about no traffic checking, having the burnout chain mechanic is actually a better trade-off. There's nothing like going at max speed with infinite boost and actually driving dangerously. As you progress further into the game, you realize it's no longer about summoning your rivals into an innocent person's home.
Couldn't we all sound each other at a different time? Wait, hang on.
It's about getting ahead of everyone and dominating not only your rivals but also the road, as the lady mentioned in the intro. Now you might be wondering what intro I'm talking about. Well, the intro I nearly forgot to add during post, so I'll just slip it right in.
Burnout Dominator.
Please do not say Dominator like that again, you'll confuse my viewers. And me.
Dominating your rivals.
Jesus Christ, relax! Aside from emphasizing the fact that you'll be dominating too much, there is a reason I skipped this part, and that's because...
You need to know about boost. Driving dangerously earns you boost.
Really, I would have never guessed that. Wow, crazy.
You can also steal boost from rivals by slamming, shunting, and rubbing. Now you know the basics. Let the domination begin.
It's about getting ahead of everyone and dominating not only your rivals but also the road, as the lady mentioned in the intro. So at least the game lives up to the title. You know, you burn out the roads because you replayed the map multiple times and you actually dominate your opponents by being assertive and not submissive.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Also, the way the progression system works is like Burnout 3, where you do races with a specific series and unlock cars in the same series that you're burning through. This I find much better than Revenge, when you unlock multiple cars that cap at 175 miles per hour, and then the next race you're up against a special racer that goes 209 miles per hour, or even some cars that go 190 or 202. Not that it makes a difference, because the speed is still capped to the car you're driving, but it's good because at least it feels like you're in an event where the cars are equal and relates to the series and feels like an actual competition. Also, even when you max out your rank on Burnout Revenge, you still have 3 more like categories to do, so the progression system was really rushed. Okay, now, remember the trade-off mechanic we had? Unfortunately, there's a catch with this trade-off. The traffic. My god, the goddamn traffic. The traffic and its placements in the game pissed me off so much, it made GTA Online look better when it came to doing export trade-offs. And that's saying something, considering the amount of videos proving that Rockstar coded bad traffic on purpose. And the worst part of that is that it's not even randomized. On God, you can retry an event if you're trying to race without crashing, and I'll guarantee you, the traffic's on the exact same spot as previously, causing you to crash at the exact same spot. I'm not crazy! I'm not crazy, I saw it! Now before you say, well in that case you're not going to enjoy Burnout 3 if you really like the traffic checking mechanic that much. Wrong. I still love Burnout 3. In fact, I can go back on that game right now and still have the same feeling I had as a kid years ago. But this is something else. It's almost as if it was done on purpose. Well then no wonder one of the hints in the loading screen suggests that you play a record breaker to master the maps, or somewhere along the lines. And the rivals. My fucking god, the rivals. If you thought Burnout Revenge on the 360 was more irritating, I think Dominator is taking the cake on this one. Being a strong driver is one thing, but if I'm shunting you, and you say, nah, fuck physics, I'm going above you, and somehow kill me, then we're going to have a fucking problem. I mean, seriously, why do you work this way? No wonder I don't have all the signature shortcuts, because of shit like this. And the fact that this is the only time my opponents slow down so I can get ahead of them in a race. Okay, Logus, why do you do it in Road Rage? I don't know. Maybe it's because they do the exact same fucking thing and they waste my goddamn time to the point where the time is nearly running out and then I gotta restart the event again. 12.5 fucking hours this game will take? Well, no wonder. Okay, sorry man, shit. And you know what, there's more. There's more with the Burnout Chain trade-off. Crash Breaker. Okay, listen to me. In Burnout Revenge, in current gen and next gen, those things were nukes, okay? They were actual nukes. You could literally get the person like ahead or behind you, or even just like to the side. You could get a 5 on. Damn, I really used Call of Duty callouts on the racing game. But Dominator. No. Okay, I'm going to draw a picture, alright? So, this circle was the radius on Revenge. Okay, so now this circle was the radius in Dominator. Do you see my goddamn problem now? So essentially, like, you guarantee a kill on, like, if the opponent's, like, towards, like, both sides. But in front of you or behind you, no. And even then, it's so inconsistent, it hardly works. And now you gotta retry again. I do like the gameplay, seriously I do, but my god, the boost chain came with so many side effects that it becomes difficult to do so. But you know what? That's not even my worst complaint. Before I really get into it, let me just say this. The design of Dominator in terms of its theme and what it's going for is something I really like a lot in this game. It's gritty, it's edgy, and just overall dark, which gives an actual dangerous feeling considering that yes, street racing is illegal and dangerous, but also the fact that the stakes are higher than a casual street racing. The rivals are more aggressive and hard to take down, the risks of filling up the boost bar by driving aggressively to continue the chain, and the tracks, which we'll talk about later. But all of those combined really made the overall theme stand out and live up to the title. So I really liked that, and especially the menu when you progress further into the game, only to then find out your menu is actually a car windshield and can crack when you're doing really well. Yes, that actually jump scared me the first time. I did not know that was a thing. Now, as for the track designs. Well, right hand of mine, would you like to start us off? Hear me out. The locations that inspired these maps are absolutely outstanding. From parts of America to rural Japan, Malaysia, and even Germany with the well-known no speed limit highways, it still replicates the feeling of World Tour, like previous Burnout titles, despite not having planes or Planet Earth animations like Burnout 3 and Revenge, but driving in them is like... Okay, for starters, the reason why my right hand is crying in pain is because the amount of times you have to hold square, because there are so many S-shaped junctions on like half of the maps in this game. You can tell these maps were initially designed with the Maniac mode in mind, because seriously, unless you're really trying to get that big score in Record Breaker, there shouldn't be that much S-junctions in a single map. Like, you got my right hand having PTSD. I'm not kidding when I say this. This genuinely hurt my hand a lot of the time because of how these tracks were designed, but what's more painful is the traffic placements, like I mentioned previously. It's an actual challenge of having not so well designed tracks and then traffic placements that will never change even if you restart. Like, fucking why? Skill-based, more like stress-based, Nick. It's no wonder you're the Vice President of EA Canada handling the FIFA license that you've now lost, so now you're still managing FC24. Yep, you've heard it right, everybody. The producer of Burnout Dominator is your man who was in charge of FIFA titles from 12 to present. From the 16th FIFA, he became a senior director for FIFA licensing and partnerships. So good fucking job, EA, for losing the license. Okay, brother, relax. What about the sound design and soundtrack? That's something you won't lose your mind over. You know what, yeah! Good idea! Thank you, me. Yeah, that's great. Now when you're gonna make a video on getting some bit. The sound design in this game is... well, I'll let the cars do the talking. You remember when I talked about the game's theme, talking about how gritty the theme is and showcasing the dangers of street racing? Well, this specific sound effect takes what I've said previously and amps it up to 100. This sound design really gives the feeling of you going past the speed limit and the feeling of, oh shit, I might die. In fact, this made me appreciate the boost chain mechanic even more, especially when the game tells you that you're supercharged and ready to go. Which reminds me a lot of Destiny 2, when you finally charge your super and just cause absolute mayhem on poor innocent dregs. Yes, we do that. Guardians, ladies and gentlemen. We kill gods for a living too, by the way. Anyway, that's probably the main sound design that sticks to me, especially when you're going to be hearing this a lot more when you keep up the combo in Maniac. But as for the sounds in general, such as your aggressive ringing and menu sounds, I like them. I think it's nice and simple, and there's nothing more cool than hearing a car rev their engine when you press the X button to choose your car after. Nothing more cool than that. Okay, yeah, you're right. I actually didn't lose my shit over this. This was probably the only calm and collective response I've had. No. Listen, the soundtrack. I like it. It's made me look up certain bands more, such as Shadows Fall, Salson, and Alice in Chains even. But, why? Why the fuck are there 4 versions of Girlfriend? Who asked for this? As if you didn't want to skip the original one entirely. Well, nah, have it in Spanish, Mandarin, and Japanese. Just fucking why? And the worst bit about it? I actually like the song, but only in Paradise. Why? I have no idea what to tell you other than it's fitting. Yeah, I know, it makes no sense, but just roll with it. I completely forgot I had EA tracks on shuffle. I think it was called sequential or whatever the hell. Don't ask why. I'm pretty sure I didn't even change it either, and if I did, I was probably not paying attention. But it takes me so fucking long to get the song I want, to the point where the pattern goes like this. You skip the first song, the second, the third, and then it will put on the first song again like EA is force feeding you a song. Just piss off. I didn't want to listen to the song the first time, then what makes you think I'll listen to it the second time? Is it my fault? Probably, yes. Am I going to apologize for adding this segment? No. Do I think Burnout Dominator is a bad game overall? Honestly, no. Despite me raging and losing my mind over this game because of how the tracks work, the traffic placement, and 4 versions of Girlfriend by Avril Lavigne, I still think it's a pretty solid game for what it was. It was even a nice send-off to the 6th gen fans as well, whilst also giving them time to hop on the 7th gen for Burnout Paradise. I almost forgot to mention its PSP version. I think it's absolutely incredible that they managed to fit the Revenge engine onto the PSP version, the same way the Burnout 3 engine was ported onto the PSP with Burnout Legends. Seriously, playing a game like this on the go is absolutely fascinating. The same way I was absolutely impressed with how Burnout Paradise Remastered runs on the Switch. I've basically put 40 hours into that game, through my work breaks, college breaks at the time, and just having it in the living room. You can basically do the same thing with Burnout Dominator if you have an actual PSP or emulators on phone, Steam Deck, or even the PowerKitty devices that come with emulators and pre-installed games. Even on the interview, Nick Channon was impressed with fitting this game onto the PSP for people to enjoy at your local McDonald's. Look, despite my gripes with the game, if I really didn't like it or hated it, I would have simply stopped playing it and burned my bin with the game inside, because there actually have been some games that I actually stopped playing because I couldn't just vibe with it at all.